Thank you. I'm George Bilgere. I'm standing in for LeBron James, who could not make it tonight, to introduce our guest. It's an honor and a privilege for me to introduce the Cleveland Arts Prize selection this year for top emerging artist. But before I do that, I want to make a suggestion to the people at the Cleveland Arts Prize. I won the Cleveland Arts Prize a few years back, and at the reception tonight, no one really seemed to remember that. I kept reminding them, I was somebody back in 2003, and they just kind of turn away nervously and walk away. And so I want to make a suggestion to Marcy for next year, that we have a new prize called that awards a medal to the submerging artist. And I'd like to nominate myself. It's a wonderful thing for me to introduce to you my good friend and colleague, poet Phil Metris. Not yet 40, Phil Metris has already become one of the best known and most widely accomplished poets in Ohio. He's received an NEA grant, a couple of Ohio Arts Council grants, pushcart nomination, won first place in the prestigious New Words Akron Art Museum Poetry Contest. He's an accomplished translator of Russian poetry, and this list of achievements only scratches the surface. Phil is the kind of dazzling young talent who makes the older generation of poets like me kind of nervous. What I think makes Phil Metris especially deserving of the Emerging Artist Award is the fact that his work is not only beautiful, powerful, and magnetically original, but that he is truly cosmopolitan in his aesthetic and intellectual reach. His poems describe his own family life, his complicated political history as a Lebanese writer, his experiences living in Russia and struggling to learn the language, and his lifelong effort to understand and articulate an opposition to war. The work of Phil Metris stretches from Cleveland to Moscow, from University Heights to Tel Aviv and Beirut. In his remarkable first book of poetry, To See the Earth, Phil Metris shows the small story of an individual man against the enormous background of world politics. I know of few poets who engage so successfully in an interrogation of the political world we cannot escape. He demands that we pay attention. And yet his work is never tedious, never scolding, never mere political rant. The power of his poetry, his artistic vision, leaves no doubt in my mind that Phil Metris will go on to become one of the important voices in American poetry. So, Phil, congratulations.
It's difficult to get the news from poetry, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. Poetry for me has always been as delightfully necessary and sweet as eating. Poetry is soul food. I'd like to thank my parents who loved me in ways that would find me pursuing grand and crazy dreams, like trying to forge peace in the Middle East and becoming poets. I'd like to thank my wife, Amy Breaux, Marcy Bergman and the Cleveland Arts Prize, George Bilgere, John Carroll University, and all of you here who complete the work that we artists only begin. A Chinese proverb says, "The bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song." Here's a little one called Salam Epigram. You trail a comet's tail. Everything you do quotes you. Thank you so much.